Mr. Moran, 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to pick up where Representative Mills just left off because there's there's been a lot of questions about IFS and China, and I want to be sure that I understand what the answers are, because earlier, Ms. Kindler, when you started talking about why IFS, those export controls were no longer being imposed, you said that China had undertaken, quote, major tangible action to address the fentanyl precursors, and that's why now we're playing nice with them effectively. But then later I thought Mr. Axelrod said that they didn't actually change their behavior. So just want to figure out, did I miss that? Did I misunderstand that? Was there major tangible action by China to address the fentanyl precursors?
Yes, Congressman. What I said or meant to say was that IFS wasn't removed because of a change in IFS's behavior. There was a change in behavior by the overall Chinese government.
Okay, so all right. So by the Chinese government, when did this behavior change, and do we have any measurable results from it to see whether or not there's actually been a decrease of the fentanyl precursors flowing through Mexico to the U.S.?
Yeah, all of this happened within the past month, Congressman. I think it's too early for those types of details, but that's something we can try to look into as time goes on. And
you actually walked right into the point I'm trying to make. You said it was too early basically to see whether or not there's any results from this changed behavior effectively.
Well, I think it's too early to see, to track overall sort of fentanyl flows into the United States. That's not my area of expertise, but my understanding is there have been concrete actions taken by the Chinese government so far, and that should lead to a reduction. But in terms of actual concrete numbers, I don't know. But my understanding is that the Chinese government has already taken action that has led to some companies stopping operations.
Okay. But we don't have any real data about whether or not what the Chinese have promised to do or not has had any positive effect on the fentanyl trade here in the United States yet. We've removed IFS from the entity list, and is that correct? We're basically taking China's word for it to say they promise they're going to be good stewards and they're going to be good partners with us, and as a result, we're going to go ahead and remove IFS from the entity list.
Congressman, I'm not sure. I don't think I'd put it that way. What I would say is there were a series of actions taken at the same time. China did a bunch of things. The United States did a thing. The United States removed IFS from the entity list because, as I've said before, it was an impediment to getting China's cooperation on fentanyl, which is killing over 100,000 Americans every year in all of your districts, right? In across the country. We have to do what we can. That doesn't mean that we're going to trust China's going to do what they say.
No, but that's exactly what you did. No. That's exactly what the government did, was they trusted China on their word. Why don't we see the results of that first before we remove IFS from the entity list? I understand that you've got to make a horse trade at some points, and I really understand, being a representative from Texas, the fentanyl trade and how it's affected and impacted communities. We are in a border state, so I see it day in and day out. But I think what I have a big problem with is saying to China, hey, you know what, we're going to go ahead and give you what you want first before we see the results on the back end. I think we ought to ask for results on the front end, and then if we needed to make that trade later, precondition it on the decline of those fentanyl precursors. We haven't seen that yet. Yet we have taken IFS off the list, and ostensibly, I'm willing to bet IFS will not go back on that list, even if the fentanyl precursors do not go down.
Well, Congressman, first of all, as I said before, there's no like lifetime pass, depending on circumstances. A removal, generally speaking, a removal from the entity list doesn't guarantee you'll never go back on. But what I would say is China has taken concrete actions. Of course, we'll continue to monitor to see how effective those actions are. But so far, they've done the things they said they would do. And that doesn't mean that that's going to continue forever. But so far, it's not like it was just buying a pig in a poke.
This is going to be a point for us to come back to at a later date. Just like I revisited a topic I raised in May, I'm going to revisit this again, because time will only tell whether or not those precursors go down. And I think we're going to look like we have egg on our face if we have given China what they wanted and we have not gotten the results that Americans deserve in return.
I agree that time will tell, Congressman. What I'm saying is I think we had to try. Given the scope of the fentanyl crisis in America, we had to try to see if this could work. And so far, there have been concrete actions by the Chinese side.
Yeah, my colleague, Mr. Mills, has it right. If we'll just close the border, we'll do a lot more for the fentanyl problem than if we make deals with China. With that, I yield back.